Today's video is brought to you by eWin Racing, the best source for gaming chairs and desks for those long gaming sessions. We have a playlist of our eWin chair and desk videos linked in the video description below. Save 30% off of everything using the discount code TECHDEALS. More details at the end of the video. We have an excellent question from Splitty coming in regarding what to do with his computer feeling a bit overwhelmed.
He says, I'm very overwhelmed and out of the loop and tired. We understand that. He's got a Ryzen 7 1700. He's got a failing RX580, and he just wants to know, what should he do?
Well, here's the interesting thing. It is very easy for anybody in the industry or an enthusiast who follows this constantly, be it professionally or as a hobby, to stay on top of every new chip and every new release and to be able to mentally keep track of all the differences between the parts, because it's either what you do for a living or it's what you do for fun.
Well, and then all the parts are a rabbit hole.
Well, they are, but it's not that hard to track the rabbit hole if it's your living or your dedicated hobby that you follow. To everyone else who only tangibly follows this stuff, who is interested but doesn't want to know every last detail, doesn't really care what the production process of each chip is or how many transistors are on them or how much level 3 cache they have. They just like, look, I'm just trying to get a decent computer for a decent price. I bought one, 4 or 5 years ago, and now I want to do it again. Oh my God, what is all this stuff? I'm overwhelmed. Help. Last night. Now, back up a second. Our oldest son, in a month, is turning 16 years old. Yes. I looked up the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, last night with him for the first time. Now, I looked at it years ago out of curiosity, but I haven't personally had to look at it for a long time. In fact, I have not looked at it for over 10 years. And I'm scrolling through it with him and realizing that I'm starting way too late in the evening because it was after dinner that we were looking at this. And I'm scrolling through it, all the details and the frequently asked questions. And if you haven't looked at that sort of thing before, that is a project and a half to research. And I even said to him, I said, we're going to have to sit down after lunch in the middle of the day next weekend and actually go through this. This is hours of research.
His eyes were rolling back in his head after the third scroll.
There's FAFSA, there's scholarships, there's Pell Grants, there's all these things. It's going down the college rabbit hole. I just looked at it and, it actually, but here's why I'm bringing this up. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking.
Did you feel a bit overwhelmed?
It's extremely overwhelming. Now, when I am rested and cognizant and I have an afternoon to give it to research, I can sit down and read through it and process it. This was after dinner. I was in no situation to read through it. But that is how I'll bet a lot of people feel if they buy a computer once every 3, 4, or 5 years.
Yeah.
And they don't watch all these live streams.
Nope.
They don't watch all these Byte Size Techs.
They don't keep up with it.
If you don't follow it as a hobby or you don't do it professionally, and the last time you looked at this was a Ryzen 7 1700 and an RX580, which both came out March of 2017, which is 4.5 years ago?
Years ago, yeah. I mean, gee,
4.5
years.
years.
Zen 3, now we're already up to the 6000 series cards.
And we have new stuff coming out. We've got Zen 4 and AM5 coming out next year, DDR5,
Yep.
PCI Express 5. Intel's going to this big little architecture with a new LGA 1700. And we rattle these things off like it's nothing because we do it for a living. And I'm willing to bet that if I went and talked to a FAFSA expert, they could probably rattle all that stuff off like it was nothing as well. In fact, we've gotten letters in the mail, we've gotten brochures from consulting companies that offer to walk families through this stuff who don't want to sit down and do the research, helping you with your college applications, helping you fill out FAFSA, doing it for a fee, obviously. But they boast about their improved acceptance rates and everything else. So obviously that takes a lot of work, and it's a bit of a challenge. So Splitty here comes in and says he's got a 1700 and an RX 580. And the reason I wanted to make this and talk about this is because I'm sure we have a lot of other people as well who are in a similar boat. They drop in and they drop out. They watch the occasional video. They pick up something that's interesting. They check out for a year or two. They come back. And all of a sudden they're like, what are they oh, something came out. Okay, so wait, why are the prices? What happened to the prices? Okay. How much RAM do I need now? Wait, what? And it's like, oh crap, I gotta learn this all over again. And the challenge to the PC industry, if you last bought a car 4 years ago, newsflash, yeah, the EVs have gotten a bit better, the electronics are a bit nicer, there's some more standard features. But if you bought a Toyota Camry or a Ford F-150 pickup truck 4 years ago, the Toyota Camry today and the pickup truck today really they're not that different. They have different features, the screens are better, but
there's a few.
they're cars with steering wheels and an engine.
They're more refined.
But if the last time you bought a computer was 5 years ago, almost everything you know from back then is just thrown out the window. Yep. Not everything, but this is a rough business to not be in for a couple of years. Now, to everybody watching and asking right now, he's going to need about a $2,000 budget to buy anything worth bothering with over his current stuff if he wants to upgrade. Now, interestingly enough, there may be nothing wrong with his computer. Well, he says a failing RX580. He could pick up, for $500, $600 a RX 6600 XT, which would be faster, but wouldn't be mind-blowingly faster, and the 1700 would hold it back a little bit. He could possibly upgrade to a 2700X, but finding one for a decent price is a challenge. Really, he needs a whole new machine, is what he needs. And what he needs is one of the $2,000 machines that we've talked about. In fact, last week, at least from when we're recording this,
correct,
the beginning of September, we did a live stream talking about a $2,000 build that had a i7-10700K, although it could be a Ryzen 7 5800X for about $100 more, which would be fine too, and 32 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte boot drive, and a RX 6700 XT, which would be a real upgrade over that RX 580. Here's the challenge. You either have to take the time to learn it all, or you have to trust somebody to just tell you what to do. Now, what we don't have is use case from him.
We do not.
And I'm sure that was on the tip of your tongue as we're sitting here. You're probably thinking, but what does he want to do? What programs? Does he want to play games? Does he multitask?
Well, it could be simply just getting a brand new GPU and just carrying on playing the games that he's got.
Right. And maybe a $400 to $500 RX 6600 XT or a $850 RX 6700 XT and keep the CPU.
Yep.
If you can at all upgrade a 1700 to a 2700X, which works on most boards, BIOS update, the benefit to that, higher clock speed, lower latency, a slight improvement in IPC, it's a nice upgrade. But of course, here's what's absurd about that. You'll spend $1,000 to drop a 2700X in there and to put a 6700 XT in. But you still have your old motherboard, your old SSD, your old power supply, your old RAM.
Yep.
And for $2,000, you get to keep your current machine, which is worth something, and you get an entire new machine with 2 terabytes of NVMe, 32 gigs of RAM, a new power supply, and you get a whole second computer.
You do.
The value of upgrading that machine is limited because you still only have one machine. And a new machine shows up at the door and you can just turn it on or build it or whatever you want to do.
Press the button.
So my general advice is if you have a 4-plus-year-old machine, you might just want to replace it and not upgrade.
Well, the nice thing about doing that is that with all the new stuff coming over the next couple of years, especially with it being a new architecture, you can kind of just miss it and let it work all the kinks out. And then in 4 years, all the kinks will be worked out. And you'll be able to upgrade again, depending on what you want to do with your computer.
And if $2,000 is not in his budget, then
you just need a new GPU.
Buy a $500 6600 XT and keep your machine.
Soldier on.
There isn't a $1,000 machine worth buying that would be worth upgrading from that. There just isn't.
No, not right now.
Not in 2021 prices. Normally there would be, but prices are loco due to the chip shortage because of the pandemic. So. It is what it is.
Well, we got to work with what we got.
What else you want to add to that? Anything?
No, it'll absolutely depend on his use case, which we didn't have.
I do have a thought. At the end of his super chat, he says, I would like some guidance. How would I go about getting that guidance? Hit the join button on either Byte Size Tech or Tech Deals, take your pick. Join the channel for $2 per month. Link Discord to YouTube. It will auto upgrade you on Discord. We have more than a dozen private chat channels only for channel supporters over on Discord. We have a great community of fans. I am only one person. I can only answer so many questions. But we have a wonderful group of people who love this stuff, and you will get your question answered over there. I mean, we have people are talking about upgrades and differences and this kind of stuff all the time.
Well, we have a tech help channel. We have a PC build question channel, which probably would work for you. We got several channels.
That's where I would, if you want to have an interactive conversation, post a few things and do more than just ask us a great question, Tech Deals Discord is the place to go. A great community who will be there to help you. eWin Racing has a wide selection of chairs to fit all shapes and sizes of gamers, ranging from petite to cuddly. They have something for every type of gamer. Not just sizes, but colors and material options as well, including red, blue, purple, pink, orange, and more, plus cloth and leather choices. We have over half a dozen chair and desk videos in a playlist down in the video description below. We also have a very special offer just for Tech Deals viewers. Save 30% off of everything using discount code TechDeals using our link in the video description. We have used eWin gaming chairs for 3 years in our office, sitting on them for up to 8-hour marathon live streams. They are very comfortable, and we are happy to work with eWin to bring you this special discount and recommend eWin for all of your gaming chair and desk needs.